As we pause today to honor the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., we recall his life, his legacy, his important I Had a Dream speech, and the marches, and of course his assassination. But can we discover other, broader ways to honor his entire life? In our Another Good Word, Dr. Jonathon Carrol offers some suggestions from an article he wrote for the newspaper. It's good to see you, Jonathon.
Good morning, Angie.
So, I was reading through your article and I thought, you're right. I haven't thought about the fact that we can sometimes reduce famous people to simply an icon.
Yeah, I think that we get this idea actually, perhaps some of us through our religious traditions. I'm speaking specifically for those who practice Christianity. Sometimes we elevate the role of Jesus to such a high status that we make it virtually impossible to imitate or to use him as an example because, of course, he was perfect. Maybe Roman Catholics might do this with someone like Mother Teresa. And so I think all of us who have paid attention to the civil rights movement throughout the latter part of the 20th century and to now have maybe done that a little bit with Dr. King.
Well, what can we do with the memory of Dr. King and other famous people to sort of release them from the frame we've put them in to really honor their entire lives?
I think it would be helpful for us first to grab a book or even go to YouTube and type in Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and just watch everything that you can or read everything that you can so that we don't be complicit in what one Princeton professor calls an act of cultural amnesia, where we tend to perpetuate the idea of memorialization while forgetting that the person is human being. It was a human being and has vulnerabilities and problems and dreams beyond those about which were spoken. Another thing is to get a little bit of a broader lens to look at the civil rights movement and to remember that there were people like Diane Nash and Ella Baker and Septima Clark and the Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth, et cetera, without whom there would have been no civil rights movement. So remembering that behind every leader is really an army, a cadre of other people who have been leading such things for a very long time, and without them we wouldn't have what we did have. And then, of course, also I think it would be helpful for us to do something different in our own daily lives, to get up and to join hands with someone else, to participate in the work of a nonprofit organization or a church or synagogue or temple or some other institution of service and do what we can to make change together in the name of the civil rights movement, in the name of all those who represent it, one of whom, of course, being Martin Luther King.
All great suggestions. And let's talk about what that does for us as individuals. What is the richness that sort of service adds to our lives?
Well, of course, we get to participate in something much larger than ourselves. And I think at the bottom line, this is what the human experiment and experience is all about, is getting to participate in something that brings meaning and purpose. And we get to define what that is. We are the meaning makers. We are the purpose finders. And so by joining hands and being shoulder to shoulder with someone else, especially someone who is very different than we, and we're facing a common vision, we recognize that there's dignity in difference. We get to celebrate diversity in the truest sense and work with someone who may be different, but who has a common vision and who longs to make of this old world a new one, which we would get to do together. I think that kind of meaning making and purpose finding gives us a sense that life is worth it. You know, it's not just about working to make money, to fund our lifestyles, to take the occasional vacation and to get up and do it all over again tomorrow. I think it means that we get to distinguish every day from the next, and we become distinguished as in very distinct ways. We serve people. At the end of the day, I think that's what we're here for, is to make someone else's life better.
Thank you, Jonathon, for all of your wisdom. Appreciate you being here.
Always good to talk to you. Thank you, Angie.
And Lifestyles continues after this. Stay with us.